All right, we are live. Today we're going to be talking about fun stuff, conspiracies. So the following disclaimer applies. Everything we say is garbage and should not be taken seriously. And if you are offended by it or ask for a source, we get to sue you for watching or just bothering us to ask that question. So there are no sources. This is just the source is our feelings, and this is comedy. And what else do we have to say for no liability? It's comedy, and this means nothing. We're just your neighborhood conspiracy theorist, and yeah, enjoy. All right, so we're going to be talking about conspiracies having to do with hormones, infertility, and I think you want to talk a little bit about weight gain too, right?
A little bit about
Conspiracy
that too.
to make us fat. All right. So you want to talk about what Alex Jones said? Do you remember that?
Turning the frogs gay.
Yeah.
Oh
All
man.
right. So let me get that page ready. So this is the Wikipedia. This is what they say. All right. That it's just a conspiracy, that there's something called atrazine. Can you see when I highlight stuff? Because I can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a chemical called atrazine, and it's an endocrine disruptor, and it may have feminizing effects on male frogs, causing them to be hermaphrodites. Basically, they are able to produce eggs and reproduce like females would. So there's a whole bunch of stuff here. They really don't like this. But anyways, let's see what else do I have? So I have my research. Atrazine causes the body to produce more female hormones like estrogen. So if you notice in the last couple years, people are much more feminized, especially like the guys have become more feminine and the girls have become more masculine, because when you put endocrine disruptors in women, if they have too much estrogen, the estrogen recirculates into a toxic estrogen, and then it rises your testosterone. But it's not like a good one. It's not a good estrogen. It's not a good testosterone. It's all wrong. It ruins the balance. So then you have these hyper aggressive females because their hormones are all messed up. And then you have these soft, emotional, easily triggered men, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the European Union, so that's like you guys, they banned atrazine in 2003, citing ubiquitous and unpreventable water contamination, bad for food crops, blah, 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 right? That it increases what I said, aromatase and our estrogen production in all these things that they listed, and that's why they banned it. Anyways, so is there anything you want to say about that?
Like I said, that's what you're seeing, like a lot of pussies, as they say on the streets. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's coupled that with the pornography. It just basically subdues the young men. And again, like I said, I kind of brought this up with the whole kind of leftover women problem. It's the same thing with like the young men without any chance of love or romance, but have tons of time and are very aggressive. That's basically the mob essentially. So it's like to keep them under control. Maybe someone in a high enough position made the call to say, well, maybe we could just, in certain areas, make certain men more feminine and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a reason why at least the EU were like, nah, no, we're not going near that stuff kind of thing.
Well, you know that they going back to like the processed foods and how there's so much plastics and that's also causing hormone disruptions, more estrogen, stuff like that. You know that in Japan, they have very highly processed foods, right? Everywhere there's like vending machines, things have to last forever. Everything is like super processed. But what you'll find is they don't get overweight like they do in the US and in other parts of the world as processed foods expand outwards. And what they did, and they noticed that people were getting overweight in a couple months of doing the mass processed foods. And they took out certain ingredients and put different types of what's it called, preservatives and stuff, so that they could continue with the processed food. But instead of making you overweight, it caused fasting wasting. Fasting wasting, I think that's what they called it. Yeah, no, thirsting fasting. No, thirsting wasting. I think it's one of those. Anyways, and that's like Chinese medicine term for it. And what that means is you're basically diabetic, but you're very thin. So they're not healthy. We think thin, healthy, but it's not, right? You can still be very unhealthy and very thin. So it's like they'll eat and they don't. It's like never enough type of thing, but they won't get fat. And they have like very diabetic type leaning blood, but they don't get overweight. So they thirst a lot. When you have diabetes, high blood sugar, you get very thirsty. That's why it's thirsting, something like that. And anyways, so that's what they did there. And you know what? I'm thinking about it. I would rather be thin and thirsty and have, I don't know, diabetic problems than be overweight and have all the other problems that we have here. But that's just me because I'm vain. But both ways, we shouldn't be having processed food, blah, 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 blah. What do you think?
Well, yeah, like this gets me into my conspiracy.
Yeah, go on.
There was a study done by BBC actually, and it's kind of weird that the BBC would actually release this. But like I said, it's kind of it's the like I said, kind of it's because it's an objective fact. I guess it's kind of like a necessity, I guess, at this stage. But if we go, can you still see the screen, by the way, or can you? Or am I presenting? Oh wait, yeah, perfect. So there was basically this reporter went off and he thought he was going to change his diet up to 80% processed foods. And this is UK, so there's not like any kind of like seen with Cap showed with the AstraZeneca or whatever it's called. Even the EU will like ban certain chemicals in America also. So there's actually less chemicals in the processed food in Europe than there is in America. But despite that, this guy went on a processed food diet for 30 days, and this is just going to show you the before and after picture. So before he started the diet, he was okay. It was not like he had a bit maybe around here, but overall, you could say he was kind of like in relatively decent weight or shape.
No, let's not lie to no.
No, I mean it's like that
Eh,
could possibly it's like that's just beyond the bond of a dad bod. You know what I'm saying?
this is a dad bod. They're
Yeah, yeah.
both
But like
versions.
this is on your way to uh
Yeah. This
some
is
heart problems,
yeah.
cholesterol, things like that kind of thing. But you can see just within a month, that's the difference. So it's
And
like
you
if
can see
you
the shoulders sloping down, the rounding.
the chin, especially
There's
like
so
that,
yeah, puffy.
massive. And then, like I said, if we were to reverse this and say, oh, within a month you can lose this, we'd be millionaires, cat. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be signing up for this shit. But like I said, like within 30 days, like massive impact on your body already, right? And like I said, like Kat was trying to make out, like it's not like he was in like doing a perfect diet beforehand. You know what I mean? So it's like even just switching or leaning into it, doing massive gains in the 30 month. That was just the upfront weight gains. The raw numbers of it was an increase of 6.5 kilos. So we started off at about just over 80. So again, like and remember again, like fat is heavier than muscle. It's heavy like water weight, all that stuff is going to be accounted for because they were taking like she it was like proper like tests and all the stuff like controlled situation how he was that he was in beforehand and afterhand. And like I said, BMI went up by a solid 2 points, and then the body fat up by literally 3 kilograms. You know what I mean? So, like I said, just in terms of the weight alone, that it should be scary enough. But what the baffling thing, or the real thing for me, is when they start looking at the hormones and the changes in the brain activity. Because when you look at the video, he starts out, he's kind of like very happy about it and all that kind of stuff. By the time he's getting to the end of the 30 days, he's miserable. He's waking up with headaches. He's getting insomnia, like all these kind of like things that he never had before. And when they done the analysis of the brain, everything in blue, you see here in like this circle, is all these connections. Um, are these again, like these were like his like baseline brain patterns, and after 30 days, all these red are like new connections that were formed purely because of the food that he was eating. And a lot of this has got to do with like the same patterns you'd see in like addictions, like people addicted to crack and all that kind of stuff as well. Um, and like I said there, like it's like have the whole kind of 3D visual there. So basically, you have a situation where, or at least this is my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, is you have basically food companies that want to make their product as addictive as possible to increase sales as much as possible with no regulation, or pretty much no regulation, being able to put anything in, and now they've low key are making like brain activity changes like this just to get their product there better. And then, like I said, where do they get all this technology from? Because they, again, these are just grocery people, they're just food people, right? And that's where big pharma comes into it. Where again, there's like, I think it was like during the COVID panic, the man was there eating the French fries and the burgers on stage and all that as a healthcare professional. Like the whole kind of thing of like, because fast food like will make you sick. It'll cause inflammation. It'll cause you all these conditions that will send you to the doctor. And then rather than the doctor telling you you need to stop doing the fast food stuff, he'll just give you something so you can continue to do the food stuff. So you're basically spending all your money on the fast food, which is then driving you to do the doctor, which means you're spending more money on your healthcare as well. So pretty much it's like what's the word? It's like a snowball effect where it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, where the impact is just like substantial, where you see uh massive like people essentially, but just like massive like numbers, like 75% of the United States of America, of the adult population, are either obese or overweight, and 40% are obese. So the majority of the 75% are obese. And that like ties into the stuff that we see in the data market, where women will say like 80% of men they don't find attractive. Well, 75% of them are overweight or obese, and then there's another 5% that are ugly, that would have been ugly anyway since the dawn time. Face looks like he got hit by a shovel, basically. That's what I'm talking about. But irregardless, like I said, that makes up that 80%. So, fellas, if you wanna be more attracted to women, all you have to do is get the slimline down. And that's another thing that I want to mention as well, is that I want to uh, do a video based on what I do in terms of like my fasting and stuff like that as well. Because I think fasting is the only thing that will save you from this. But because of the hormones that are in these foods now, it makes it a lot more difficult. So I've tried it myself, going back to processed foods and seeing, okay, holy shit, like the how behavior will change because things like ghrelin and all that stuff are in the system, and how that kind of affects your free will, or how difficult and brain fog and things like that as well. Do you know what I mean? Kat, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay. Do you know the study that they did a while back? And they basically took, no sources, by the way, don't ask. So I don't know what kind of animals, all right? So I don't know that much about it. I forgot. They basically took animals, gave them the standard American diet, all the processed junk that we eat. They gave them that, and they left their natural diet in the cage. So they had a choice. And then, of course, they only went to the standard American junk food diet, right? Then they take the standard American junk food diet out of the cage. And guess what you think happened? Guess.
The animals start getting very, very angry or irritated and stuff like that. Is it?
They would not eat their standard diet food until they were almost dead. And they would only eat enough to live never enough to be healthy, because it was disgusting to them, and it was not hyper palatable to them, so they did not want to eat it. So they were never able to become healthy again and enjoy those foods ever.
Fuck.
I know. So that's why it's so insidious, is because once you start it, you can go, oh, I'll just stop. It's willpower. It's this, but it'll never be able to like satiate you again, and you'll never want to do it. And a lot of people can trick themselves into saying, oh, I love it now, I've changed, whatever. But what we've seen in these animal studies is that no, you'll never like it. You'll be like, you'll have just enough to survive, but never enough to be really healthy. You'd have to force yourself to eat.
And the thing as well, I noticed too, is the drinks. It's like the coffee shops with all these sugars in them and all that, and that's what the real killer is, I think, as well. Because if like sugar was kind of one of the main things that I cut out from the very beginning when I started, because I just realized, nah, it's not good anyway. But the more and more I kind of got into it, the more and more I realized, like, fuck that I gave that up. Because like honestly, I think sugar is worse than smoking, like for real.
I mean, I think they're both terrible, but the hyper palatable sugar plus fat, sugar plus this, the sweet, salty, when they mix them up, it's too exciting for the brain. It's too much too soon. So that's where we have the problem. Also, when they do the processing, they add gums, fillers, dyes. All of these things cause hormone problems. They cause mental problems. They cause emotional problems. They cause everything that you don't want. So once they're introduced, you're kind of screwed, even if you take them out, which is the scary part. And as far as the plastics in the environment, the plastic water bottles, the plastic containers that we put everything in the olden times, and still some people who don't have a choice now, they put plastic in the microwave and heat up their foods. Microwaves are not great anyways, but they're not as bad as the plastic in the microwave. So when you do that, it releases everything. Also, I found out, you think like a paper cup is paper, but in order to make paper waterproof, they line it with plastic anyways. So it's still plastic. So anytime you go out and get a disposable anything, you are being exposed to these chemicals, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's happening.
And like that's the thing as well. It's uh the kind of like all the kind of like knock-on effects, like these kind of like, yeah, that's kind of like lower sperm count, uh books with hormones, and it's like at what point do we kind of like say like or call these environment activists out, where these people who claim to care about humanity and all this stuff but actually don't, like all this stuff is basically poisoning us, and like we can see it, like there's there in the scientific, like there are scientific things that we don't necessarily have today, because we have the hats, like that was the main thing that we need to get today. But the studies themselves, like they showed us out, they buried us out, and the likes of RFK highlighted a lot of stuff that's just been kind of casually just hand waved by the medical professionals. But like I said, there's a lot of kind of different things that we've already highlighted, where the officials are either asleep at the wheel or they're being paid off, essentially.
I think they're being paid off. I think everything is about money at this point. Like, nobody cares. And they sell off their children and the future generation just for a buck now, which is really sad, but whatever. Here we are. So the other thing is, in the 80s, there used to be books you could buy on, this is not humans, this is just animals, right? Animals used to eat whole food diets. Believe it or not, I have a book that shows like this breed of like cat, whatever, give them this many ounces of beef, I don't know, beef liver, and this many ounces of like a filet, whatever, every day or whatever. Like, it would be very specific. This many ounces of a sweet potato, this much ounces of rice. Like, they would eat real food, animals. And that's what we would feed them. And then when the processed foods came around, they indoctrinated the veterinarians that you could not feed a cat or a dog a completely nutritious diet, that they would die, that they would get nutritional deficiencies from anything that wasn't processed food. This is literally what they are taught in school. So the vets will get scared. What about this? You can't get this. What about this? What about this? When we have forever, since the dawn of time, been able to just give our animals regular food, meat, fish, potatoes, rice, whatever, depending on the breed, and they would be able to eat it. No problems. Now we're giving them all this processed crap, and now they're getting 1,001 illnesses, and they're dying early. Now they need insurance. Just like people, they've done exactly the same thing to animals as they've done to people, and it is big business. The vets make so much money on these prescription diets. Once your pet gets sick, they put them on that, and then that's like forever. And the other thing is there was this thing about how I told my vet, whatever, that I give my cat some raw milk, and he freaked out. There's so much indoctrination about you can't give a cat raw milk. They're lactose intolerant, blah, blah. And I show him this book. I'm like, my particular cat is this breed. This says this many ounces are allowed for this breed. Most cats can't have lactose, right? They can't have milk, but certain breeds were bred to be able to have that. So I give it to that certain breed, and it's fine. The other thing is, once again, just like people, once you give your cat processed food and you try to go back to a raw food, real food diet, they don't accept it 9 times out of 10. So if you don't do it from birth, you are screwed.
Well, I mean, like that's the thing. The whole same with like do you use baby formula, do you use natural, and it's always like why not use natural kind of thing, and it's like I said, it's the same thing that they're doing to the pets that they're trying to do to the humans now as well. You know what I mean? It's almost like they were using the pets as the guinea pig, and it's like, okay, right, we can roll this out. But yeah, it's crazy when you think about it, like like that, all this kind of like innovation, all that stuff for like these fast foods. So it's like you can get like right at your door as soon as all that, as soon as possible, all that. But like when you actually think about like what you're putting into your system, like why are we putting in like all this? It's like when you think about like the whole kind of food industry, how is that like so big? You know what I mean? Like it's always like thing, and I think I don't know if I already said this, but like when I love watching Columbo, and there was what you call it, there was like a like beforehand there's like the old episodes, and then there's like the later episodes that like the older ones were like 1970s, the later ones were like 80s, 90s, all the way up to yeah, like the newer ones are like up to the 90s, and then I think there's one in the 2000s. But there was I think there was like a midpoint, I think where it's kind of like between 80s, where there was an episode where talked about subliminal messaging, and how in movie theaters they'd be able to splice in, let's say, an image of a popcorn, and or maybe the word popcorn, and because there's only like, let's say, one frame, you wouldn't actually see it or notice it like consciously, but subconsciously it would get into your brain, and that's why it'd be as soon as you get out, you feel hungry or feel that kind of thing. And ever since that, I noticed even in the Columbo series itself, food started being more and more present during the episodes. If you notice in Friends as well, Joey's always eating a pizza. There's always some sort of mentioned food in every single one of these sitcoms. It's almost even in Malcolm in the Middle as well. The fact like someone's always eating a pizza, or there's some sort of pizza there. And like I said, it's yes, it's product placements, but when you see it like the whole kind of what's going on and the bigger picture of it, but like I said, big food and big pharma in bed together, and you have all this kind of like results now with the brain activity. You know what I mean? It's starting to look very, very dark. You know?
Yeah, I remember seeing that too. And when my husband took that course on hypnotherapy, and we learned about all this stuff, how it works, once you realize how easy and suggestible everybody is, and the more intelligent you are, it doesn't matter, everybody's suggestible. People will pick up things if they hear it enough in their environment, and they will think that it is their own idea. They will incorporate it as the truth, their truth. It's not your truth. It's what they want you to believe. So anytime they repeat things. So you watch this show and they say such and such is healthy. That's one data point. Then you look on Instagram, such and such is healthy. Okay, that's another data point. Then, somebody else who, whatever, went to school and they learned it was such and such. Okay, and that's it. Pretty soon, that's what you believe. That's now truth to you, and you have been indoctrinated. That's it. That's how easy propaganda is to infiltrate society. They used to have us thinking that avocados caused high cholesterol. Can you imagine this poor little fruit that we've had for millions of years causing cholesterol, killing people? This is such a dangerous fruit. Eggs. We've had eggs forever and been fine. The foods that we've eaten forever, now they're the villain, whatever. And they try to, tug on your heartstrings like, oh, but you don't eat animals. It's torture, blah, blah, blah. They're the ones who are torturing the animals. The same people who tell you don't eat this because it's torture are the ones who are torturing the animals. They don't have to torture the animals. They're choosing to torture the animals. We can make regulations, but they don't want that. So it all go, and then they're like, it's torture to the animals. Therefore, eat this processed garbage. That's how it all goes.
Yeah, and like I said, it's I don't know, like we could go very deep, like start bringing up like Operation Paperclip and all that, and how they went over and there's like the scientists and all that, and now we have all this. But like I said, like fundamentally, when you just look at the relationship between these companies and how it's kind of like that link where it's like doctor doesn't actually cure me, he just treats me. You know what I mean? Like that's the distinction to hammer that home. It's like doctor does not want to cure you; he wants to treat you. And that meaning is he doesn't want to get rid of your stuff. He wants to make your life just bearable enough, give you something so you to keep buying. Again, you got to keep buying. It's a consumer market, baby. You know, just so your life is bearable, just so you can get by and continue to do the bad stuff and all. Like, there's a reason why fast food makes you fat. It's not good for your body. You know what I mean? Like, if you, that's why when we say it's like Pearl got like so much heat for calling like girls whales and all this stuff. It's like, well, why are you that big? You know what I mean? What are you putting in your body? And you can't say it's like it was an accident or it was a one-time thing, because it's like your body doesn't lie. And the same thing with like your skin. Like, obviously you can have conditions, all that kind of stuff. It's like skin is a good indicator of someone's diet as well. They're all spotty and all that stuff. They're still thin. Go back to your thing with the in Japan with the processed foods. It's like they'll still have like spots and all that kind of stuff, or acne and all that kind of thing. And that's because it's excess grease, excess oils, and all the stuff that are in these foods. You know what I mean? I can't remember the particular. Oh, it's basically like from the corn syrup. Like that's the main thing that's kind of spiked all this, I think, or at least in America, like all this kind of stuff where it's like high fructose corn syrup. I think is the name of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the food companies do pay influencers to lie for them, and they even say don't say this is a paid promotion, which is illegal. But these kids are going to take whatever money they can get. Like most influencers make nothing. So if you give them $20, they'll tell whatever you want to people, and they don't care. So yeah, I remember when I was just like I posted a few times on Instagram. I had like no followers. They were offering me thousands of dollars to promote vaping. A Chinese company wanted to sell some chemical vape stuff. Yes.
Send them my way.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did not take the money because I chose my soul, but whatever. I know people who took the money.
Because it's China, probably CCP related, so it's probably a good bet regardless.
It doesn't matter if it's who cares who's making it? What is that? Where are the ingredient lists? Can you show me the ingredient list? Do you know what's in there?
Well, basically vegetable glycerin and then propylene glycol.
Propylene glycol. Do you know what that is? Do you want to know what that is?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, Kat, you're mute.
Sorry. Let me show you. Here we go. Toxicology, whatever. I can't read any of these words. I don't know what that is. This sounds like a lot of big words. What the? Renal dysfunction. I know what that is. You're going to get renal seizure and coma. You like that one?
Yeah, but like, see, Kat, read the first line though.
Oh, shut up. You believe everything. You know that.
For although propylene glycol is commonly used as a solvent in intravenous medications, so directly into the blood, it might become toxic when administered in large doses over a short period.
Oh, shush. Look at this. Kidney injury. Sepsis, systemic inflammatory response syndrome. Let's see. Intoxication may be difficult because many hospitals do not measure levels. So you might be going in for something else and they don't even know. Let's see. La 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 la. Yeah, so basically don't have it. It's a poison. Period.
It's used, we just said it's used in IV medications.
Why is it even in there? There's no need for this. Let's see.
Probably like could be to stabilize or whatever.
Look at
like
this.
I said,
generally, not that the crap.
Yeah, generally. Wait. Go back up there. Go back up there, Kat. Kat's making my case for me here.
Look, I don't trust this
in
website.
Contrast, is generally recognized as safe added for foods and medications.
You're going to have something that has quotations, generally recognized as safe. You're going to...
Wait a second. Most reported cases of PG toxicity have been resulted from PG used as a diluent for IV.
How much is in there, though? How much
for
is
benzos? What do we
Whatever.
got? This is come on now.
I don't want it. But it's in all the food. Okay, here we go. Topical. There you go. Bad. I don't believe this. This is a lie.
But this bottom part, that's true.
Yes. Anything that's like, look, anything that they put quotations, like it's probably okay, I'm suspicious. I'm gonna
because it's like they're like it is important information to know, because like I said, in terms of like there are people who literally like smokers in India that'll have like the picture of like 5 smokes at the same time, and you're like if you thought like chain smoking was one cigarette after the next, and this guy's smoking 5 at the same time, okay, there's different use and all that. So like I said, like the toxicity levels and all that, like the max testing for chemicals and all that stuff needs to be in place, and you need to do the thing as well. But in terms of the way I kind of weigh it out, it's the way that like when I was smoking a pack a day, it's like you're kind of way more cough and way kind of like phlegm, all that kind of stuff. Whereas when you switch to the vape, there's less phlegm, and then it's water vapor as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Compared to burnt
Is
material.
water an ingredient?
No, but it's
no.
What I'm saying is it's produced. Do you know what I mean? It's basically like that's what it becomes with when they react. I mean, when they're burnt together. When the two chemicals are burnt together, it basically that's what it produces is the water vapor. So that's basically what you're inhaling in. You know what I mean? So it's like you're basically weighing up to like, do you want the water vapor or do you want the ash or the burnt material? Which, like I said, there's people who've smoked that have lived to over 100. You know what I mean? Like
vaping, no.
No, I mean smoking. What I'm saying.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Because like what I'm saying is like, because it could be very sound very deceptive where I'm saying, oh, water vapor versus burnt material. Do you know what I mean?
Look, this is the the search engine you should never trust, but look what it says. Like acid, dental hide, whatever, blah, 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 and formaldehyde.
Mhm.
Lung disease, cardiovascular health disease. They contain a herbicide used to kill weeds. Suspicious.
Look up
Anyways.
wait, look up fluoride. Look up fluoride toxicity.
Okay.
And this is going to scare a lot of people, actually. Well, maybe. Depends.
Here, this is the same website that's put the quotations that everything's fine for propylene glycol. There we go. Suggested fluoride is a human developmental neurotoxin that reduces measures of intelligence in children, placing it in the same category as toxic metals, lead, methylmercury, and arsenic, and polychlorinated bethanols. If true, this assessment would blah, 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 blah. Basically kills you. The end.
Yeah, so that's in toothpaste.
Yeah. No, I think, wasn't the conspiracy on fluoride that they used it to dumb down the population so they'd be easy to rule?
Yeah.
Like there you go.
It's is it the pineal gland in the brain?
Pineal gland?
Yeah, like basically like the center parts or the very, very middle of your brain.
Yeah.
It basically it's like the test is like it basically shrinks that, which is kind of like your like the I think it's like for dreams or something like that, or like your thoughts and creativity, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like basically like fluoride is hella toxic to that part of your brain. So it's when you look at like why are they putting this in toothpaste that you're brushing on your teeth every day? Why are they putting this in the water supply to filter the water? All that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But then there's other things where it's like was it like MRI machines? Like that's like nuclear technology, and like it used to be called like an NMRI machine, but because everyone was like so afraid of like nuclear that it was like so radioactive and all that kind of shit, they had to they basically sort of removed the nuclear parts but just called it MRI machines. But like there is a lot of that where it's stuff will sound bad in the medical profession, but it's actually there's a reason or a valid cause for it as well. So that's why I say again, take everything we say with a grain of salt. We're not medical professionals. This is not legal advice. Please don't do.
Yeah. So do you remember like the hippies would say that it calcifies your pineal glands, whatever. Calcifies.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I remember thinking like the hippies were like the very leftist liberal type people, and they used to post stuff about this is going to calcify your pineal gland, you got to do this, you have to eat raw milk, you have to do all this stuff. And then suddenly like the liberals became super for the government regulations, and then like I guess there was like a vacuum, whatever, whenever it goes somebody else fills it, so then it became now conservative values, which is crazy to me, because the conservatives used to, when I was little, say, oh, those stupid hippies don't know anything, just eat it, we've been eating it forever, you dumb idiots. and now it's like flipped.
Like the script is completely free. Like Trump is now basically punk. You know what I mean? It's like it's anti-establishment to be for a Republican, which is crazy. But yeah, like it's I don't know, like it's like there's validness to everything. Like in terms of like or vegans kind of say it's like we can't be just like mercilessly just like slaughtering animals and all that kind of stuff. Which yeah, it's true. But at the same time, it's like you can't just be going around dictating what people can and can't eat, or can and can't do, or can and can't think. And you certainly can't be super gluing your hand to the middle of a highway. That's a stupid idea. You know what I mean? So there's more that can be done in terms of the kind of like transparency, because there there are a lot of situations where companies kind of look a lot more evil than they actually are. It's either that sometimes it's just incompetency on their end, or they're just trying to hit a bottom line. Like the stories that I've heard where, you know, in like tech companies, managers would like switch off the data center over the weekend just to, or switch off certain servers just to save on costs, things like that. So like I said, there is kind of like a solid reason, I think, just based on what we've spoken so far, to actually dig down into this and kind of say, listen, what are we putting in our food? What are we putting in ourselves? You know what I mean? And scary thing you said about the animals, where it's like they gave them the fat, or they got them the processed foods for so long, and then after that, then they basically ended up malnourished. Which, like I said, when you look at like crack addicts or kind of drug addicts like that, it's like that's generally the way they end up. They're always like malnourished, like weak bones, or kind of a frail kind of like body to them as well. And like I said, it's kind of scary when you think it's like, are they literally intentionally trying to
Yes.
do this? You know?
Yes. Yes. I'll tip my hat to that. But anyways, so like, what's another thing that you think that they're trying to do? Oh, what about the infertility rates skyrocketing for the first time in history? Oh, and I also made a note of, you know, all the plastics and stuff in our fabrics, and all the chemicals in our food, and the water supply, and the air that they're spraying, the chemtrails and stuff. All of these things cause hormone disruption, and we're having women that get their first menstruation earlier. So it's always kind of fluctuate depending on whatever toxins are in the environment or stressors. So in the early Middle Ages, the 5th century to the 12th century, they would get their first menstruation 13, 14, right? 17th century, they delayed it to 16 years. So they were doing better. The longer it takes before your first menstruation, the healthier a woman is. So keep that in mind. So perhaps earlier on, they were not healthy, stressed out, you know, whatever. And then things got better in the 17th century. So got to 16. That's good. And the 19th century, the 1800s, stuff like that, it became 16.6 years. So it's a little bit better. So we're doing a little bit better. And then in the first part, oh, and then 1949, I think 1910 to 1949, I don't know what happened. Was that like world wars or something? Probably. It went all the way. Yeah, it went all the way down to like 12.7. So whenever you stress out a female, their hormones, like they make them go into estrus early. So that, because they're like, oh, you're going to die soon. So we need to reproduce now. So the quicker like you go into estrus, the more stressed the environment is. And your body doesn't think you're going to live that long. So it wants you to like knock it out quickly. Keep that in mind. And then, so now I think it's 9 or something. I didn't write that down, but I think it was like 9 or something is average, which is crazy. That means we're more stressed than like peasants in like the 5th century. We have more toxins and more stress than then.
And that's crazy. Because like I said, it's this kind of like weird thing where you have like people who are trying to like, you know, save humanity, but they're also saying, yeah, we're overpopulated. So like that's literally what Thanos was, by the way, for anyone that was wondering, you know, like like that's literally what the villain plan was in the fucking biggest like franchise, or probably one of the biggest franchises. So like I said, it's this fucked up mentality where it's like, oh, we need to save them, so we're gonna basically drug them and feed them bugs and do all this kind of shit. I don't know, man. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of it flutters the mind just to kind of like actually kind of break this down and then actually run through the numbers, and you have like something like how can they explain, or what's the official cause for this, or is there an official statement on this? Yeah.
No, I doubt it. There's nothing. They're just like, oh, it's a mystery. Oh my gosh, look at this weird phenomena.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So another conspiracy that I was thinking about is how they want to supposedly lower the population. I heard years ago, decades ago, maybe, someone in the World Economic Forum and that type of agencies, they were talking about how white people are very against any sort of policies that they enact, that they're the most aggressive against their policies, right? So then there was like a campaign, supposedly unproven, blah, 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 against the Whack people to, and you'll see it, these woke agenda things seem to happen more in their communities for some reason, which is crazy. Like you don't see it in the Muslim communities. Like you can't say anything negative about Muslims, about like the Jewish communities, about the Black communities. You can't say anything negative about them. They don't seem to be as woke. But then in the white communities, it's kind of like pushed on them. Like you're evil if you're not woke.
Yeah, because it's basically kind of like it has that kind of melting pot effect. Well, we're talking about this earlier in the pod as well. Like America to be that melting pot, but you can't melt like Sharia law with American ideals. So, I mean, they just don't go together. It's like water and oil, And it's like I said, this whole thing of like we're saying, it's being pushed. It's not like a natural thing. It's because like with most people anyway, it's like if they understand how history is, everyone was a slave, all this kind of stuff. So it seems like there was the kind of like that initial kind of like gaslight just to try and like push through policy. But now you see it's kind of more so it's like, right, if we get the white man down, we already have the black man voting for the Democrats, have all these other ones, but then Islam's going to pop its head up as well. So then you have basically what I think is going to be is this showdown between Satanism and some form of like Abrahamic religion, be it like an amalgamation between like the Jews and the Muslims finally get along, and Christians are in the middle of that, or there's some sort of like, I don't know, dare I say, was it the like Revelation style kind of thing where like it literally like skies like it starts to rain and fire and all that kind of shit from the skies. We'll have to see, but irregardless, the to get back to
wait, before you say anything else, you say irregardless?
Yeah. What's irregardless? Or what's wrong with irregardless?
Regardless is a Cuban word. Every Cuban girl says irregardless every 5 seconds.
Do they?
Yes. I've never heard anybody, but that's not a Cuban female, say irregardless in my life. It's so crazy. Do you say supposedly?
Supposedly.
No, not supposedly. Supposedly?
Supposedly? Yeah. I'm a cultured man, Kat. You know what I'm saying?
Very nice. Okay.
I know a lot of lingo.
Okay.
But yeah, no, to get back onto the thing there, like like there's a clear, and it's been said multiple times, but like different things like by the Marx, by BLM, by all this kind of stuff, like this kind of effort to destroy the nuclear family. And like you're saying there, that the female's getting stressed, that makes sense. That the fact that it's like if you want to get inside the family home, you need to kick the father out, and then you need to start manipulating the woman through fear, manipulation, all those kind of things. So essentially, when you look at like you're saying there, like it was a World War I or in around that time frame, it was like it went down to 12.7 or something like that. The fact that it's down to 9 now, what the fuck is going on? Do you know what I mean?
Worst.
But like that's what I'm saying. It literally feels like we're fighting like a virtual or a spiritual war at the moment, where like fundamentally like they're not even hiding it anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're literally singing about coming for your kids, all this kind of shit, like all this hormone therapy and all that. Like you're telling me, like that's the other thing as well. It's like you're telling me that it's like you have like actual like hormone like therapies and like all this kind of shit, and then this is just a coincidence with the food that it's causing all this stuff to act with your hormones and all this kind of thing. Something does not make sense here, Kat. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah, I think all roads point to Rome. And it's just like they want to depopulate. I think maybe they think, this is just my giving them the benefit of doubt, that this is the most humane way to cull the herd. Because they're choosing to do it. They're giving them the option to do it. They're like saying, believe this, do this, whatever. And if you choose to do it, then it's your choice. You decided to go along with it. So therefore, it's not us. You did it.
Yeah, and then that gets us back to the Satanism thing, because that's their creed. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't cause harm. You have to get them to choose to harm themselves, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, it's because I don't want to kind of go and kind of like go off topic too much with like other conspiracy theories, or kind of like the big picture wise or anything like that. But yeah, man, it's like, it just does, because like when you think about stuff like logically, it's like creation is just a natural byproduct. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't really tend to think about things like when you think about like destroying stuff and all that, like you're not logically, you're thinking about like you're angry, you're emotional essentially. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I say like this is just like the stuff that we're seeing here, and supposedly these are supposed to be medical professionals, and we can see the numbers ourselves. It's clear as day that it's, like I said, it's you'd be even hard pressed to make a case that they're stupid, or that this is just like an ignorance thing. This is like, there is solid, or at least a hint that you can say this is low key being done on purpose. This is like you said there, basically a way to cull the herd, but in that kind of, well, like the bully hitting you with your own fist. Well, I'm technically not hitting them, you're hitting yourself, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? You're on mute again, Kat.
Sorry. If you had this worldview where you believed in your heart, or you were conditioned to believe because you went to their special schools, often wherever, like Geneva, where the hell they get them when they're young and they brainwash them to be the world leaders, whatever. If you were brainwashed and you really believed that you needed to lower the population or the entire world will implode because you can't feed them all, blah, 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 blah. It's unsustainable, blah, 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 blah. Right? If you believe that, you were indoctrinated to believe that, then everything that's happening makes sense. And they're using useful idiots to implement all of their strategies to cull the herd. And if they are culling the herd, we have to be pretty happy, because we will not be culled, because we are protected by our tinfoil hats.
Gotta protect the brain, voice. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get some protection.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they are, then at least we didn't fall for it. And if we didn't fall for it, the people who are left will be the ones who didn't fall for it. And then they'll breed smarter people, hopefully. We can hope.
But that's the thing, and it's, I heavily encourage anyone just to at least give some of this satanic like, I don't want to say like documentation or like research, kind of like just give it a read, because like a lot of it is the same stuff, where it's like they claim to be the passionate ones, that they look out for humankind, but at the end of the day, it's just to achieve their own ends, and that ends is destruction. Like I said, the like, you'll own nothing, you'll be happy, like all these phrases that like these world leaders are doing, it's all the same shit. And like I said, it's kind of it's getting to the point now where it's like, I genuinely feel as though it's like we're at that stage in the cycle, I guess, where the veil gets dropped, and then you actually see the demons walking around. You're like, oh shit, it's about to go down. But like I said as well, it's like, for the 80 or 75% of the population just to be overweight or obese is already like, that should be a like, throw the red flag. You know what I mean? Like, because pretty much the way you should be thinking about it, at least, is your population is like, that's your tribe. So if you're ever to get invaded, you need to be able to defend yourselves. Do you want population that's fat, lazy, uneducated, or illogical, like hormonal, or would you want population that's like filled with fathers, strong men, strong women, all that kind of shit? Do you know what I mean? Like a strong nuclear family intact. Like and even I think in the previous podcasts as well, they were kind of mentioning this as well, where it's almost like they're also turning incentives in law where it's like logically it would make more sense to just let someone die rather than to try and save them, which is like, and that's where we're getting into the like that whole dynamic where it's across the board. And it's and another thing as well, I don't know if we want to do like a video specifically to go into this, but in terms of like the criminal or gangland activity where like you see the big boys play, it's like the kingpin drug dealer never actually does the deals himself. He always makes sure that he has an alibi or he's away, because that's who they want to get at the end. Like most, when you look at like police officers and detectives, like when they find a dealer or someone who's dealing on the corner or a low level guy, they won't actually take him in straight away. They'll try to get him to lead them to the bigger ones, to try to get more information on the gang. You see this as well online with botting and all that stuff. Like in games, initially they'll let the bots go over, they'll see the activity, be able to graph out exactly what the activity is, and then be able to put a detection system in, and then they'll ban all the bots. And so if they try to get the bots back and do the same thing, they already have this detection thing, so they automatically get banned. So, like I said, it's crazy world out there, but at the end of the day, you got to stay sharp. You got to stay fresh. You know what I mean? Or quick on your toes, and like I said, just be able to think things out. You know what I mean? It makes like someone who's supposed to be a world health official, who's overweight, who's obese, is a logical contradiction. Like, how can you be telling me what's good for my health when you don't even know what's good for your health? You know what I mean? But then that's where they say, you're fat shaming. You know?
Exactly. So everything is upside down. And if you call it out, you're the problem, which is even more upside down. When I was a kid, we used to make fun of each other for everything that we lacked. Oh, you're short. Oh, you're too tall, or you're too big, you're too small, you're too this, you're too, like, that was what they would make fun of you for. And guess what? We were cool with it because everybody's made fun of for something. I heard a study that said that people are more racist against people who have a different accent than look different than them. Did you hear about that?
No, but it actually would hold water, because the amount of race shit that's been said, or amount of like was it roasting that's been put my way, even though I'm supposed to have white privilege. The fuck is this supposed to be about? You know?
Yes. So I thought that was really cool, because when you go to like England and stuff, everybody that has the same type of posh English accent, doesn't matter what color they are, they're regarded as this. And then if you have like the lower class accents, it's like that. It's different. You're separate. It doesn't matter what color these people are, which I think is hilarious.
100%. And I think Russell Peters had a joke about it as well, because he's Indian, but like in some parts of Miami, like people think that he's like Cuban or that there's some sort of Latino in him. So they'll just come up to him, start speaking Spanish. He'll be like, "Oh no, I'm not Spanish." Be like, "What kind of fucking Latino are you?" You know, like the like that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that whole kind of like, I think it's because they think that you're one thing, and then they hear it something else. They're like, "What the fuck?" It's like that kind of like fear. But there was sorry, this is going off on a tangent, but it's there's a guy on the Joe Rogan podcast, fat black guy, but his whole thing is that like he goes to clan meetings as a black man, sits down with these guys, and it's kind of like says, "Let's talk about this logically." You know what I mean? Because how can you hate me as a clan member? You're supposed to hate black people, apparently. How can you hate me if you don't know me? And he sits down and he actually like personally gets to know. I think he got, I think, over 30.
Yeah. I heard about him on Rogan.
Yeah, so like his whole like philosophy is it's like it's based in fear. He describes a moment where he was there talking to one of the wizards, and like there was like basically ice basically dropped to the bottom of the camp, but they didn't know at that stage. They just heard a noise. And like everyone was kind of like had that brief moment, but then it kind of subsided, because, and that's where you kind of realize it's like no matter what color you are, no matter what you sound like, it's that fear humans have. It's not actually the preconceived notion of, oh, it's just the color and all that kind of stuff. It's that kind of the unknown, which is a natural human instinct that you naturally have. Like it's instinct you don't really have control over, you know. So that's why it's like when you, like I said, the sum it up, like it's you need to kind of be able to work through these things, go back to the base thing, and just realize, oh wait, that's the commonality. It's just fear, you know?
Yeah, and I heard that the Bible says, "Do not fear," like more times than any other phrase. We're all terrified all the time.
Because fear is not my God.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's crazy that fear causes all these physical, emotional, mental problems, and fear is everywhere. Everything, the news is like fear. The movies are like fear. Everything is fear-based. Scared. And this neuroscientist went on this podcast and she was talking about when you watch a scary movie, you're not just watching a scary movie, you're giving yourself brain damage.
Fuck.
I know. I mean, it's crazy. And when you realize that, I pretty much stopped watching television. Like, I'm that type of person that, you tell me something enough times, I get it. I stop. And yeah, like, processed food, whatever, tastes good or whatever, but I stopped. I was just like, I can't do this. I remember the day that I stopped. I used to have Lucky Charms 3 times a day. It was the best, your people. But then when I heard how bad it was, all the colors making you like hyperactive and all that, whatever, I just stopped. And I remember the last day I have it, I just poured them all in the trash. I never bought it again, never thought about it again. But then most people can't do that. And I just feel like maybe they are culling the herd, but they're culling the people who are going to fight back against them. So if we build our numbers up, it's game over.
Like, that's the thing. Like, good always wins in the end. You know what I mean? And I know I say the whole thing about good and evil, but like creation, like the side of life will always like triumph. And the reason why we know this is because we're sitting here having this conversation. You know what I mean? Because if it didn't triumph, we wouldn't be here. And like I said, it's kind of one of those things where, like I said, it's just a darkness. But like, there are darknesses in this universe. There's things like black holes, pure destruction. Like, anything it touches, gone. And unfortunately, there are people who, whatever lives they've had or whatever way they were raised, that's basically what they are. And Klaus Schwab, all that kind of stuff. It's this whole kind of like pursuit of power, and by any means necessary evil, all that kind of stuff. Where, like I said, if you when you focus on life, there's just so many things where, for example, like squaring up, so me versus this guy, it's like you don't have to fight to death. You can run away. You can live, fight another day. You know what I mean? I've been basically like power sleeping. You know what I mean? In between streams, just been power sleeping essentially. You know what I mean? But yeah, like the cap off there, it is kind of like scary to see like what's been done and how much legislation has been passed, and like how many hooks Bill Gates and George Soros and all these people have in the system. But like I said, it's kind of, once you see it, then it becomes clear. And then I think there was a quote where I think it was like it took Tucker Carlson AI, the Lord of the Rings thing, but it was like it hit home where he was kind of saying like maybe in the face of evil, the true virtue is being able to unite. And like that's the main challenge. If we are able to unite, we're able to slay any demon, So that's my perspective on it as well. Because like don't get me wrong, like for example, like Andrew Wilson, like you need to be able to hit the hammer or to slam the hammer off, just like be blunt with like these whores and all that kind of shit. But on the opposite side as well, you want to be able to cleanse the corruption. Do you know what I mean? Because like we've kind of spoke about on many podcasts so far, Kat, like there has been this attempt to like basically take anything that's been divine, like the nuclear family, like having sex to create children, and take that, corrupt it, and now it's, like guys are cutting their dicks off and then all that kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like taking something sacred, corrupt it, but at that same time, you can take that corruption and then reverse it and purify it as well. So that's the kind of trick where it's almost like a Yu-Gi-Oh episode where it's like you feel as though there's nothing there, and then you draw that card and it's like everything, the puzzle just comes into place, and you just realize I can actually do something here. Do you know what I mean?
Do you want to know my red pill depopulation theory?
Go for it.
Okay. So I've noticed that the red pill, a lot of the creators, and I know Myron is like ex-CIA, and I never forget that. So I don't care what anybody says. He's ex-CIA. I never forget that. So anyways, I notice that it's always like, it's not telling you to have a family and kids. They're like, oh, you can if you want, good luck. But they always say have 50 women and like, just like spin plates, or have lots of women, or have, lots of skanks around and get them pregnant. Maybe just, whatever, pay them off. You don't have to see them. You don't have to see your kids. How is not seeing your kids and not being there for them any different than, single moms? They're still single moms. If you don't live in that house, that's a single mom. I don't care what the contract said. I don't care how much money you send them. Still a single mom. They're still going to be indoctrinated the same as if it was a single mom without you. I don't care how much money you give, or, oh, I'm going to go once a month and give them a 20-minute, life advice. Good luck. Good luck raising kids that way, you dumbass. But I mean, I think it's the same thing. Both strategies lead with broken families. And one thing that I remembered, there was an old study in like the 90s or something, and it basically said that when the biological male parent leaves the home, the female daughters, even if they're underage, will be under so much stress, biological stress, unconscious stress, because there's no male to protect the home, that they will go into estrus and try to find another male to impregnate them and hopefully take care of them. This is a biological fact. So if you are spinning plates, not, home with your kids, you cannot stop your daughters from basically becoming 304s. It is a biological fact.
There's that would explain what you're saying with the 9 years old, the average being brought down so low.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, like it's not wartime. Like there was literally world wars where it was higher than it was at this stage. So it ties into there. And then like and that's my whole kind of principle, where it's like when Andrew Tate came on the scene, he was basically preaching you can either be a simp or you can be a pimp. But the caveat to that is even
there's
the pimp
no dads.
is a simp. But like even the pimp though, like is still a simp, because your bottom bitch is going to be getting plowed by other dudes. You know what I mean? You're basically just like using her to get you, like, money, which is fucked up. Like, what kind of man?
It's all messed up. It's all degen.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like in terms of the like the options, that there is a third option, which is fathers. You know what I mean? And that's what you need to be able to preach, and that's why the likes of Andrew Wilson, and just like the general kind of like change or shift that we're kind of going in with, especially like the likes of Pearl as well, kind of highlighting a lot of these kind of conservative women are just talking feminism just from the Bible, essentially. Do you know what I mean? Just like basically using God to try and like get their way. So like I said, it's kind of it's an interesting dynamic, because like I said, it's things are shifting, and in terms of like you're saying there, like are the double agents? Probably. Like
that's a great way to like, we're having a gender war because of this. Feminism and red pill is a gender war. And yes, you need to know female nature, of course. And yes, women, have complaints. We get that. But they're both designed to keep everybody separated and to stop families.
Pretty much. And like I said, look at the was it Confucius, like just look at the music, look at the Hollywood shows and all that. Like it's literally demon worship, sexual depravity, sex acts, WAP, like all these kind of like these songs that are just pure trash. You know what I mean? It's all it is talking about like sex in its most degenerate form, where
the root chakra.
Kids. Yeah, like, but like the divine form is creating kids. That's what it should be. You know what I mean? But like I said, there's only so much lies I think you can perpetuate till eventually the light does shine through, kind of thing. And unfortunately, like the story ends is that like whoever the guy who leads it is gets the bullet, but in that moment, he might die, but like he lives on forever because like the whole kind of martyr thing. Do you know what I mean?
The
It's like
idea will live after him, and we don't need a martyr. We just need a lot of people saying what we're saying, and then it's too much people saying it, and you can't kill everyone. That's the thing. There's too many of us.
Like I seen a video of there was like a Little Leagues game, like the baseball thing. They told the parents not to sing the national anthem, and like the parents of the home team or the away team was like, "Fuck this, we're singing it anyway." So they just start singing it, and then the team ran back out and they started singing as well. So it was like that big kind of moment. You can't control the crowd. You know what I mean? As one person, no matter how much fear, intimidation you try to put on it, eventually they just say, "Fuck this." And like I said, like that might seem like, oh, that's the clear answer that we should do, but when you flip that table, there is unintended or unexpected consequences. You know what I mean? When a immovable object meets an unstoppable force, there's going to be damage of a collateral nature. And like I said, it's kind of, you're hoping that like people can see through this because there are, and I still don't know how people can still vote for Biden at this stage and all that, but like there are people that that's still kind of like asleep or in that kind of stage where they just don't want to hear your facts, or just don't believe your facts, and it's just hand waved or it's pushed aside, or you know it's dismissed in whatever way possible. And like that to me is the saddest thing. But like I said, you have people like Andrew Wilson and what the hell is his name? The black-haired guy who was talking to he was talking to a student about J.K. Rowling, and like the kid
you
was
keep
like,
bringing that up, but I never saw that, so I don't know.
Yeah. 1 second. Let me just take 2 seconds to get this guy's name. It's going to drive me mad.
No worries. There was one thing that I wanted to mention also. Let me see. I have notes. So you know how like everybody is like really fat, and then they tell them you have to work out instead of like saying don't eat poison, don't change your diet. And then people go, okay, let me work out. Let me get workout clothes. Workout clothes have the highest amounts of hormone disrupting materials and obesogens, materials that actually get absorbed into your body and make you obese, obesogens. So you're hot, sweating, working out, your pores are open, and it's sucking in all of these obesogen. And that is why the women are like working out, and they're like, I work out 5 days a week and I can't lose any weight.
Like I said, it wouldn't put past me, because like I said, there is a lot of things where, especially when you kind of get into like aerodynamic principles and all that stuff, it's like the whole thing. If you want to put as much aerodynamics on the car, but you don't want to put too much that it slows it down, or too much in the straights and all that. So it's the same thing here, where it's like all the stuff that you're supposed to be helping you, like these medical professionals that are supposed to be giving you medication. That's just the treatment. That's just exacerbating the problem in the long run. It's getting you to spend more money. And like I said there, it's like the whole vibe of like working out. Oh, you got to get these supplements. All these supplements that are like pretty much not regulated, filled with all sorts of like massive caffeine, sugar, God knows what else. Like I said, and then like I said, the plastics in terms of that as well. The sperm count dropping from it, despite the fact that if you're exercising, you should be increasing testosterone, should be an increase in sperm and all that. So yeah, like I said. But I remember the man's name as well. His name's Warren Smith. But like I said, we need more people like that who would like just embrace the logic and come at it from the point of view of like, okay, you say something, okay, make the claim, okay, just back it up. And then that whole thing of like, I think Andrew even said it as well, last night, it's like people are just not used to getting their ideas challenged. They're used to someone saying something, I copy what they say, and then whenever that topic comes up again, I just repeat what I heard, which is stupid that like we're not robots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why it's like you need to have logic, you need to have that kind of understanding. I know it sounds cliche, but like even philosophy as well, people need to start thinking about shit. You know what I mean? Like people aren't thinking, they're just doing.
Philosophy was done by people who had time on their hands. Who has time on their hands to actually think about what they're thinking? To think
Well, like,
about what you think is crazy. You need time.
because like do the calculation as well. You work 8 hours a day in a 40-hour week. Add another hour getting to and from on average. That's 10 hours a day. That's 50 hours a week, which is 2,500 hours. And then you have 8,000 hours in a given year. We're just shy of that. So that's almost 33% of your year is based off just going. And again, that's not including going to the bathroom. That's not including showers. That's not including all the stuff you do.
Forget it. You
Wake
got
up,
no time.
breakfast, all that kind of thing. And that's what I'm saying. Like that's where it's like even stuff like the fasting, being able to cut out meals, you get a lot of time back in the day being able to cut out meals. Like what else do we do? Like even just like things like the exercise there, rather than having to go to a gym and all that stuff, just have a mat there, do the push-ups, and then have an elastic band for the pull-ups, all that kind of stuff. Like like that's the one thing that like is not being taught in the red pill space, which I know is that like everyone's talking about, oh, you have to make billions and millions and all this stuff, so no matter what you can afford the family. But they're not looking at it as like, okay, wait, how do I actually afford the family on the most cheapest possible? What's the minimum?
Yeah, I think we should focus on that. That's a good point, because it's not about how much. If you have to waste your whole life building wealth before you can start, you're going to be a shit parent. It's just, that's the truth.
Because like there is the flip side to it, where it's like your average 18-year-old is not going to be clueless in that thing. I know there are cases. Grid One made the case of like, you know, like farmers, like usually like a kid that's been raised up on the farm, he's basically going to be a man by the time he's 16. But like we have to go based on the typical and all that. But yeah, like it's one of those things that it's like we need to make sure that we're kind of weighing up everything into the calculation, and not just kind of going with kind of like, okay, we're red pills, so we're this team, so we have to go down that. It's like, nah, let's actually look at the whole solution. And like we said there, it's not just about being able to flaunt the money. You can basically be able to say, you can flaunt your wealth even though you don't even have money. It's a mentality. Like I said, being able to budget and be able to understand what, like, how much it actually costs to maintain a family, which, like you probably know, it's actually not that much than what you're actually doing currently if you're single and you're living alone.
Yeah, if you can live alone, you can have a family. It's that
exactly.
easy.
Do you know what I mean? And like I said, there's also government incentives and all that stuff in place as well, despite the fact they're trying to get rid of that shit. But yeah, like I said, being able to do like coming at it from the minimum point of view rather than the maximum, and then once you're able to learn the minimum, then once you scale out to maximum, you're just making like your percentage like profit is just way better or way higher, because your whole way you're thinking about it, your budget, you're not wasting money on stuff you don't need. And then when you have that kind of the capital and the wealth, that's just like the extra bonus that it's like you can then start buying back time. Okay, now I don't have to work a 40-hour week because I have all these savings, or I have all these stuff in my early years and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's what I'm saying, like in terms of the father aspect, because like the pimp always talks about the max but never talks about the minimum, whereas father will always talk about the minimum, because that's the real journey, that's the real, like, the intellectual, the mind part of it. Because like we're all talking about the gym and how to reach peak fitness there, but you need to do the same thing with your mentality as well. And that means, yes, you need to learn how to budget, yes, you need to make smart decisions with your money and all that. But that's where we need to look at it, like I said, from the minimum point of view. Like, what's the minimum you spend on, for example, eating? What's the minimum you can spend on? Because once you're able to work out with diet, that's let's say it's like it costs me €3 a day, let's say, to think. So that's like, let's say 1,000 a year. Yeah, my food budget, I know I can potentially go down to €1,000 a year annually on food, and then anything else. And then once you do that, then you realize, oh wait, let's say a food order, Uber Eats or whatever, is like $20 a day. That's like $7,000. So to eat Uber Eats every day, that costs you $6,000 a year just on taste. You know what I mean? Because like I said, once you work out the diet, And again, it takes a lot of research, all that stuff. But once you do it, then it's almost instinct because it's a daily activity. It's constantly being done. It's a ritual and all that. And like I said, your nutrition gets back in, your head gets clearer, your weight gets down, your inflammation gets down, and there's no brain fog, none of that as well. And that's when you start to realize, oh shit, oh, we're getting screwed here. Do you know what I mean? Basically, and that's what I'm saying. It's like this whole kind of like Jordan Peterson, like I said it, I think in one of the Joe Rogan interviews, and he said it abruptly, and like Joe Rogan started laughing because he just basically came out and said like, "Well, Joe, why is everyone fat and stupid?" You know what I mean? That has to be a question that's answered. And when you look at all these hormones and all that, that explains it, you know?
Yeah, and the other thing about like when they flash their money around that really bugs me is if you're a real family man, you do not flash your money, because what would that do? That puts your family at risk of being kidnapped for ransom, which happens all the time. There are some countries that's like, if you're just even American and you walk over, that they'll kidnap you for ransom. So I remember this story. This guy got, top of the Forbes list or something, and they let him know before it was published, right? They're like, oh, just to let you know, you made it to the top of the Forbes list. And then he freaked out. He put everything into like the company's name and whatever. He freaked out so much. He was so scared. And then he called them. He's like, look, I don't have anything in my name. I'm poor or whatever. He was like so scared. And they're like, oh, you could have just told us that you don't want to be on the list. We would have not put you on the list. And he was like, oh, no, you don't understand. Like, my youngest daughter was kidnapped and we didn't see her for months. And, I was traumatized. I don't want anyone to know I have money.
Yeah, no, because it's like the one thing. Anytime you go to like let's say the favelas in South America, it's like you don't want to be wearing a watch, full stop. But you're not wearing any fancy watch, not wearing any fancy clothes, none of that. You want to like blend in essentially. Do you know what I mean? Same thing as like tourist beaches is another thing. Like don't bring your wallet because they'll get fleeced, so on and so forth. So you got to be able to like recognize that like hiding wealth and hiding kind of like not being like, oh, I'm the biggest motherfucker ever.
Old money mentality. You do not tell them you have money.
Exactly. It's just a thing of like, like, and that's what I'm saying. It's like once you kind of work from the minimum and you live that kind of like the pauper lifestyle, and but like you're able to like live it like as a like healthy and all that kind of stuff. Like you're in that mentality where it's like I don't need to rush for anything, and I don't need to brag about anything. It's like, and the other thing as well is like saying that you're like a millionaire and all the stuff. Let's say like Refresh, like that's great and all this stuff, but he is basically put himself in a situation as the beautiful woman. Like she doesn't know if a guy is actually being genuine, if his love is genuine or not, because guys will lie about being lovable just to get pussy. Fresh is in the same position. He'll never know if a woman loves him because he has the money and because he flaunted it. Everybody knows now. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of similarities between this whole kind of like dynamic, and like I said, it's kind of like crazy when you get into it, but it's the curse. Like it can be a blessing and a curse, you know.
Yeah, I remember when I was dating, there was this boy, came from new money, right? And he came up with one of those really fancy, expensive $300,000-$400,000 cars, right, to pick me up for a date. And my dad looked him up and down and slammed the door in his face. And he was like, absolutely not. And it's like, he's like, it's not because he has money. I had lots of money, but it's because he's that type of money, which causes problems for you. And that means he needs validations from others, which means he's going to be cheating on you. It's going to be a problem always. He's never going to be satisfied. This is not a good person.
Well, I mean, like that's what I'm saying. It's that pimp mentality where it's like, yeah, and it gets down to the greed element where we get back into like the bottomless stomach where you just keep eating. But yeah, so I remember I was there when Tate was like came on the scene with the XQC stream and that blew him up and all that kind of thing. Like I was there kind of saying like, listen, put me on, I can take this motherfucker out right here and now. Because like Tate will always say is like he helped all these women. You know what I mean? Took all these like broke ass women and gave them these careers, and that got them all the money, and now they're happy and all that kind of stuff. the thing that Tate also believes in is hypergamy, which means the more money a woman has, the less options she has. You know what I mean? So like the basic prices herself out of the market. You took all these women that could potentially have had any man they wanted, and you gave them a lifestyle whereby now they're tainted, they're spoiled to a degree that, and also as well they have tons of footage of sexual activity that these women have been doing as well. So strong arming or blackmailing is well within reason. So like I said, and that's the pimp lifestyle. That's the stuff that you don't actually hear on these streams or the cons or the whatever. And that's why I keep saying this, like, we need fathers. We don't need pimps. We need fathers. And it's not just for now or in terms of the whole kind of like, because this whole thing has exploded now and all that. It's fundamentally since the Bible times. Like there was pimps, there was simps, all that kind of shit. But the reason why is when you look at the tribe, you want the tribe full of fathers, not a tribe full of slaves. We need pimps and soft bro era. Good way of looking at it.
Sure. I say no, but anyways, I remember when my husband started making a lot of money one year, he's like, we have money, should we get like a nice fancy car? Because the stupid idiots, you know, in the circle, when they got money, they got a nice fancy car. And I'm like, are you not happy with your life? Do you not see that like everybody's jealous of us? You have everything. What do you need? What are you trying to do? And then he's like, yeah, you know, that was stupid, whatever. I'm like, just get the car that's nice inside, that doesn't get you a lot of attention from cops, where you can like, you know, hide, whatever. That's what I always think of when I want a car. I'm like, what's the most common car that's nice enough that I'm comfortable in? Like, I wanted to look like everyone. No, not that bad. Like everybody in Miami has a black car. So I'm like, you need to have a black car. You need to not be like, you know, have a lot of people staring at you so that the cops leave you alone, and the sugar babies, whatever, they leave you alone too. And but like a lot of like the shallow type of guys will tell him like, you know, his patients or whatever, they have lots of money. They're like, oh, you only drive that car? You can afford this. Why don't you get that? And it's just like that sort of trashy, I have to show off and live for other people mentality.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's like that's one aspect for money, but it's a very I want to say useless form. Because like attention can be valid for certain things, like marketing, all that kind of stuff. But when you look at like for me, the real power of money is being able to like have enough capital to just be able to buy out land, buy out like properties, things like that, like on the grand scale. You know what I mean? Fund campaigns, things like that. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's getting a new car when your car is already grand enough. You know what I mean? It's like to me, it just doesn't make sense, or like, especially because like when you look at like the way, right, and this is the one other thing that kind of blew my mind in terms of the when I learned this, all that kind of shit, is that it's like with all these like stocks, gold, cryptocurrencies, any of that kind of stuff that is like you invest in and all that kind of shit. Like when I was a kid and also growing up, I was like, I never understood like deposit accounts. We do this, do that. Like, what do I have to have and all shit? Once I realized that, it's like when you put money into, let's say, a gold or crypto or stocks, like you're pretty much just like basically time stamping that money, and then anything from there is going to increase. You look at like crypto markets, you look at the gold markets, you look at the stock markets, go back 20, 30 years and look at what price it was. And you could do this with any of the markets. It'll always be an insane multiplier of what your original money was. The whole thing is that if you can get, let's say, a year's salary and throw it into gold and leave that for like 20, 30 years, that's a retirement plan. You know what I mean? And again, it costs you one salary, like 1 year's salary. You know what I mean? So like I said, it blows my mind that money can make more money. And once you realize that, then it's like, why would you ever buy frivolous things? You know what I mean? Like that's my mentality for it anyway. But again, it's like you're saying that like that whole kind of old money, new money kind of thing. It's like that. Like I need to be flashy. I need to be seen. I need to be doing this. Whereas, like the whole kind of mentality of all money is where it is. You know, gold member.
Yeah. So when you see people who have real wealth, they don't have all the fancy stuff. I worked in a finance place where we only had clients that were like multi-billionaires. So they would come in dressed like crap. They would look like crap too. They were not fit and fab, whatever these people say. Fit and fabulous, whatever. I don't know what it is. They were not. They were just like old and fat dad bods, and they did not give a crap. And they had the hottest, pristine type of woman next to them, jumped when they said so. Like, but these people were old money. And it was just like a completely different mentality. Like, they did not care. They were not impressed by if you had a watch, if you had this, if you had anything. They didn't even have watches. Screw that. They're just like business and then get out. And that's it. Like, there's no pissing contest after you reach a certain amount of money. They own towns. They own skyscrapers. They own airlines. They don't care about your watch. Come on.
Because like it like life changes significantly. Like once you kind of like get to that brand of like millionaire or billionaire status. Like for example, like with Trump, like he doesn't need a fancy car because he can just get a helicopter. You know what I mean? And like that's what I'm saying is like once you kind of get to that stage or that mentality where it's like this called flashy kind of like sports car kind of mentality, that's not going to get you anywhere in life. But being able to buy a fucking town, that might get you somewhere in life. Do you know what I mean? You might be remembered. You know what I mean? For the guy that like built the town kind of thing, you know?
Exactly.
And I think that's what we need to start teaching young men as well, where it's like this whole thing of like, are you just going to be basically like a shit stain on the side of the road? Or are you going to actually go out and actually create something? You know what I mean? Don't know what it is, don't know what it might be. And that's the interesting thing about life. But the thing is that you need to remember you have time. Not everything has to be done today. But that also means you need to get after it because you don't have forever. And like I said, I didn't mean to turn this into a motivational thing. It's more of a conspiracy thing. But like that's another thing that you have to have, I think, in this game, because a lot of this conspiracy theory stuff, especially lately, is like more so facts than theories. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people, I think, like to get into your thing is like to get stressed out, to get worried. They're like, oh shit, this is the thing. But you need to have that kind of other thing, the healing side to you, where it's kind of like you basically remember it's like, yeah, let's work through it. Might be a difficult question or a scary question, but once you kind of rationalize it out, it all starts to make sense. You know what I mean? Like things make sense, but like it all plays out in the end. And like I said, the good guys always win in the end, you know?
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to talk about before?
Nothing so far. Like I said, because I don't want to kind of go too many conspiracy theories in the one and kind of base it out. But there's, like I said, there's other spicy ones with the you know who, with the thingamabob and all that, with the crime scene. And
Yeah.
like I said, there's other stuff with the demons. The demons are coming, Kat.
Oh, do you believe in demons?
Like I said, it depends on how you define demon.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like it's there's a lot of stuff we can get into there too.
We should do one on demons.
Yeah, we could do like an Exorcist one. You know what I mean? Where it's like
what?
The Exorcist. Do you ever read any of those stories of the
Exorcisms?
people?
Yeah,
but like
I follow Exorcist on YouTube.
Yeah. So it's like we can go through that stuff as well, because like some of the footage that they have as well is scary as shit too, man.
Yeah, so I'm fully on board with talking about demons. I think we should totally do a whole episode on demons because there's so many demons. And that's in the Bible, so like that's for real. And I have stories, personal stories on demons and people who are demonically possessed. That's right, guys. It's going to happen. So when do you want to talk about demons?
I don't mind. Like I said, like we just kind of like have it as like the series where it's just like we just call it like supernatural or like that kind of element, and then it's like we have conspiracies, demons, angels, maybe Bigfoot might
Bigfoot is not like important to me. Like, who cares?
I don't know.
He's important to you?
People being 10 foot tall. I'm just
Although,
saying.
like the Nephilim,
Exactly. Could be
giants.
linked.
We could do giants. Giants, I'm down.
Because like I said, there's a lot of like Indiana Jones is basically a movie series of Bible conspiracies.
I know.
And nobody fucking realizes it.
Yeah,
And
it's my fave.
I say that to atheists, and they literally flip the fucking head, and they'd be like, "No, it's not." Like, okay, where's the Ark of the Covenant mentioned? The Bible. Thank you very much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so let's do one on demons, and then we could do other Nephilim. The giants.
Yeah, like, we could do demons. We could do the whole kind of like story how it went down in the Bible. Do Book of Enoch.
I'm reading that.
Yeah, like we could do that stuff. We could do stuff like the ancient Egypt with the Anunnaki, stuff like that as well. That whole kind of the Great Pyramid of Giza too.
Yeah.
Hancock, or Graham Hancock, and the boys, like tons of stuff there. Atlantis. Where's the real place of Atlantis?
It's real.
Do you know what I mean? Like I have 2 possible locations. Like I said, there's other stuff as well, like the just the general kind of like satanic kind of cults that we see a lot of that, like those shenanigans too. Then even going back, we can go through like church histories as well, where like that the Pope actually wrote out and he was like, yeah, the Vatican's actually getting taken over by demons.
When? Which Pope?
I think it was like in the 1700s or something like that. He was like the Vatican got stormed. And he was like, it's unofficial, and it's like this is like all demonic and all that. They're taking over. This is not the real church. And to be honest, those kind of like frame up with like the whole kind of timeline, because that's when like the Templars turned dark and got disbanded. Apparently, I don't believe that the Templars ever got disbanded. Like wild shit like that. But like I said, I have kind of like I had like 10 tabs open in like one of the windows, and it was basically the whole kind of thing of going through it. But yeah, we can do that as well. Like we've tons of ideas for conspiracy, guys. Yes. So like I said, it's going to be quite a few series, I think.
Okay, cool. So next one will be demons. So everybody, get your hat ready for the next one. And if anyone has personal demon stories, not I know a guy, it happened to you, you saw a demon, or you were demon possessed, you could come on and tell us.
Sounds spicy.
Yeah. So all right, so thanks everyone for coming. Do you want to say where they can find you?
Yeah, so name's Teriyak, Taoreyyak. I'm on usually on X and YouTube. I'm also on Rumble as well, but I don't really have any followers. That's more so just backup or storage space at the moment. But YouTube or X, just Taoreyyak.
Cool. And you can follow me on my Discord, on X. Everything is my name. I think I'm on TikTok under the same name and Instagram under the same name. I don't really post on those, but you can reach me there. Thanks for watching.